trace. These are in the Bell's 12 Powerful Words. They should be in your binder behind the I Learn section. The example in the sentence says, trace the plot of the story from the beginning to the end. That gives you a hint, beginning to end. What do you think the word trace means? What do you think the word trace means? Harper? Okay, to tell the plot from beginning to end. The thing is that the word trace is not only used when referring to the plot. What if I said trace the steps used to solve the mystery? What would I mean then? Retrack. Yeah, that's really a great way to say it. Let's just go ahead and write that. Retrack the steps. Or list steps, events, or details. Kind of just depends on the actual question. Okay? It's kind of like if someone says, I bet recently Alec lost his coat, and I bet his mom might have said, trace your steps. What does that mean? That's what I tell my kids sometimes when they can't find their shoes or their backpack or their lunch box. Not their lunch box, their lunch box. I might say, trace your steps. What am I telling them to do, Jacob? To go back to all the places they've been. So when we're talking about tracing something, we're talking about going back to all the parts of the story. List all of the details that led to the climax. List all of the details that led to the detective being able to solve the mystery. List all of the steps that you took to solve the problem. Okay? Who can Google and look up the definition from an actual website of the word trace? Who has a definition of the word trace from an actual website? Why aren't you looking up a definition? What? Well, it's not quite. Okay, what do you have for a definition? Connor, first of all, tell me your source. Okay, dictionary.com, and what does it say? Well, do you think we want one that's a noun or a verb? If we say trace the plot, are we telling you to do something? So it should be a verb, okay? And which one makes sense? Because we know that trace can mean to like draw over the outline of something, okay? But I don't think that's the definition we're going to use. Okay, what do you have, Connor? Okay, let's read them both.
To follow the footprint or traces of. The second one is to follow, make out, or determine the course of the line, especially by going backward from the latest evidence nearly existing.
I like that one. To follow, say it again.
Follow, make out, or determine the course of the line, especially by going backward from the latest evidence nearest existence. And before nearest there's a comma right by evidence.
I'll shorten it just a little bit. Working backward from most recent, is that what it said?
From latest evidence.
Latest evidence.
Comma,
If I told you to trace your steps to find your coat and, you know, it's the end of the evening, do you think the first step that you're going to go back to tracing is when you got out of bed, or are you going to go in and go backwards, work backwards from the last thing that you did? Oh, well, I just came in from the garage. And before that, I was in the car. You're going to go backwards from the most recent event. Okay? What is a word that means the same as trace in this definition? What is a word that means the same as trace in this definition? Gage?
Find or discover by investigation.
Well, we could say maybe investigate. Okay, what else do we have that might be the same as trace? Guess?
Follow.
I don't know about follow. Harper? Retract. Okay. Or retract. You said retract. That's kind of, okay. What do you have? Let's see.
Outline.
Outline. What do you have, Liam?
Footmark.
Footmark?
Yeah.
I think that's a different definition of trace.
It's like a trace, like when someone's leaving a place but they still see.
Okay, follow steps, maybe. Follow or list steps. Okay. And then what would be an antonym? What would be an antonym? Yes, Connor.
Well, it's on dictionary.com. It's an antonym for trace. Evidence or pathology.
Evidence or what?
It is an abundance or plethora.
Okay, can you let me see the words or spell them for me?
Well, one is A-D-U-N-D-A-N-C-E.
Abundance. Abundance. I don't know if that's really an antonym for what we're saying the definition of trace is. Like a trace amount would be a small amount. So I don't think that's an antonym for this definition. I know. I think that a antonym would be like starting at the beginning. Or only telling the end. Because you have to list the steps that happen from the beginning to the end. You have to list all of the steps. Okay, so this afternoon after lunch, you're going to take time, or before lunch, and you're going to write a sentence using the word trace, and you're going to draw an illustration or symbol. Okay, we'll brainstorm what that might look like. What do you think that symbol might look like? You should not be moving yet. What might that symbol look like? Yeah, maybe you have like a detective's magnifying lens. Looking back at some steps, you could show some actual footprints.
Okay, go to the